America leads the world in medicine development. It matters. We get new medicines first, nearly 3 years faster. 5 million Americans go to work because we make medicines here at home. And not relying on other countries keeps us safe. But China is racing to overtake us. Will we let them, or will we choose to stay ahead? When America leads, America cures. Let's tell Washington to keep us in the lead.
Learn how at americacures.com. Paid for by pharma.
If we knew more about our sleep, what would we do differently? Would we go to bed at a consistent time or take steps to reduce interruptions to our sleep? With Sleep Score, Apple Watch measures your bedtime consistency, interruptions, and sleep duration. Then, every morning it combines these factors into an easy-to-understand score from 1 to 100. So you'll know how to take the quality of your sleep from okay to very high. Know your sleep score with Apple Watch. iPhone 11 or later required.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Listening to this podcast? Smart move. Being financially savvy? Smart move. Another smart move? Having State Farm help you create a competitive price when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the personal price plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Mike Ryan, weren't you excited when you saw Brett Erlich was joining us because of your fascination with his Rotten Tomatoes show, because you've been following this guy for 15 years?
Yeah, I love that show on Al Gore's former TV network Current. They had some good programming there, and the Rotten Tomatoes show was really, really funny. And if it were still around, I'd still be watching it. It's a damn shame it didn't have a longer run. So when I saw Brett Erlich on the guest list, I'm like, is that the dude from the Rotten Tomatoes show? Thinking that nobody would understand the reference that I was making because it was on Al Gore's network.
Look at how excited he is right now. He's the director of programming of the Young Turks Network. He's a comedian. He's been doing a lot of funny political comedy for a while. He's the host of Happy Half Hour Wednesdays, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. But what's the matter with you, Brett? You look like you were raising your hand like a kid in class wanting to talk.
Well, when I got the invite, I thought it was an April Fool's joke because this is kind of a dream come true for me. And it wasn't until that moment that everything became real. So I'm happy to be part of it. Thank you for watching the Rotten Tomatoes show. We always joked that we were minor league cable sensations, and apparently that's the truth. Thank you so much for watching in '08.
I hate to break it to you, Brett, but this is an elaborate April Fool's joke. You're not on the show. We're not on air right now.
Welcome to Mystery Crate.
But what's a dream come true? Because the reason I wanted to have you on is I heard you. I've been fascinated by what's going on with the billionaires in this country. I've been fascinated watching what happened to Elon Musk and how his public persona has shifted. And I specifically was very interested in the way you talked about political comedy and Jon Stewart going after him and why it is that you love that as comedy more than any other kind of comedy. So thank you for joining us. But why is this a dream come true for you?
I used to listen to you on the way to work every day. I follow everybody involved in your. I love just this pod of people who are not only covering sports, which is a passion of mine. Like my dad played football for UCLA, won the Rose Bowl in '66. My cousins Bill Lee pitched for the Red Sox. Huge sports fans all my life in our family, and then hearing people still kind of speak their mind and say what they want to say. It's awesome. It's fantastic. It's a dream come true. There's tons of fans of you guys over at TYT.
Well, thank you for joining us. Can you explain to the audience here what it is that you were saying before we get into the damage that Elon Musk is doing, specifically what you like about the details of Jon Stewart and Elon Musk going back and forth?
Just about the two of them going back and forth, it is the difference between a billionaire and a comedian. There is no better counterpoint to a billionaire than a comedian, especially a Nepo baby billionaire like Elon Musk. This is someone whose dad could afford a emerald mine and bought it with money he got from selling a plane, which is a mad lib of the mad state of affairs of billionaire life. So yeah, basically he did that, and everybody said yes to this guy his whole life. And if you're a comedian, you basically spend a lot of time in literal underground subterranean comedy clubs, and people are saying no to you. And it's your job to get it right, to understand something fundamental about the human condition. And then if you do that long enough with enough different subjects, then you get to the level of Jon Stewart. And you are essentially, you've been training your whole life for this. And Elon Musk has just been getting weaker and weaker as he's become more successful and more successful, surrounded by yes men.
Stewart has said that Musk's X algorithm has greatly acted in the warping of our democracy. And Musk responded by calling Stewart an extremely skilled propagandist disguised as a truth teller. What is the real damage done here?
Well, I mean, the best is like the response from Jon Stewart, who's like, well, you're just a really skilled propagandist, implying you're not even masquerading as a truth teller. Basically, in the wake of Joe Biden's Super Bowl tweet getting more exposure and impressions than Elon Musk's, the reports were that Elon Musk like pulled together all of his engineering team to say, please make me cooler and more famous. Make it so people, whether they opt in or opt out of my tweets, interact with my tweets or not. Fundamental things about the algorithm they're supposed to signal to the algorithm, like whether your ideas are good. He's like, could you please do away with that and make it so that I'm in everybody's inbox? Because I'm rich, which makes me better. And we can just force feed my ideas as we masquerade saying that this is a, free exchange of ideas, the great marketplace of thought. When really he's warping everybody's perception of reality, because as soon as you go on Twitter or X or whatever he calls it now, you're just surrounded by like the worst ideas you don't particularly like or agree with, and the only people who rise to the top of that are people who agree with Elon.
You guys have seen that report, right? That 18 engineers were called in the middle of the night because Biden had a Super Bowl tweet that had more engagement than Musk's Super Bowl tweet. For people who don't understand, Brett, how is it that this has actually had an impact on democracy? How is it that this platform has this power? And how is it that this person knew that this platform would have the power to actually bleep with democracy? Because I wouldn't have guessed at any time in my lifetime that there would be such a platform in America.
So I just remember one time I got invited to lunch when I was working at Al Gore's Current TV by a guy who wrote at the New York Times. And he was telling me all his secrets. We just kind of had a few beers. And he was like, listen, when not him personally, but when people write articles, there's this phenomenon called 1-2 trend. And basically, if you can find two things that say the same thing, that's not an article. But if you get three things that say the same narrative, well, then you're good to go. Go ahead and print it. And Twitter is just always the fastest thing at helping you look what's happening now and then see what people are saying about it. And if you are the laziest, least common denominator type of journalist, well, you can just find those things super fast and throw them up there. And that is the kind of like self-reinforcing dynamic of Twitter that helps not only get people who go to Twitter to see what's trending right now. So if something's at the top, that's the narrative as soon as it happens. I don't know anywhere else where that happens, because like either you're live, if you're live, you're like looking at Twitter to see, and you're broadcasting just stuff on Twitter. It was like the fastest place to find out what's happening and what people are saying about it. And if you can get in charge of that, you're not only controlling Twitter, but you're controlling all the reporting on the subject that's breaking now, let alone like the source video from people who are there.
Mike Ryan theorized something I had not heard before today. Have we killed April Fool's Day because of the amount of disinformation out there? At this point, people are too careful, and you cannot do April Fool's Day correctly anymore.
Yeah, I think you can. You just have to, and I know this is harder to do now, like know the person personally. And you have to like have small little micro interactions where you like totally ruin it for someone. But like on a macro level, the thing I've been saying for years is like we've never had so much access to so much information with so little idea as to what the hell is happening.
That's a hell of a sentence to put on our tombstone.
And Brett, it's a coordinated effort, right? You had things like Photoshop and things in the 2010s start making their way in there. Dan was constantly fooled by a shark that was swimming in a mall or on a street corner. But But once like the blue checks were a free for all, and you had no idea if the person was. I mean, Elon, as you mentioned, he tried to tout this as a news source, and then he did away with the guardrail that ensured that you knew that it was coming from an authentic source. This all seems by design, so you can't actually hold those who are lying accountable.
Yeah, and then add to sprinkle in that, like, him just wanting to be cool, and, like, that's it. Like, he just wants to be cool. So he puts all that stuff together, and you don't know what's happening, but you know that the people I see, like, I used to like Russell Brand. Like, he came on the Rotten Tomatoes show. He was awesome. I blocked him, muted him so many times. He's still in my Twitter feed. But, like, yeah, it's rough, man. It's rough to find out what the heck's happening.
In sports, championships aren't won alone. They're won with the right people around you. That's exactly what Intuit TurboTax brings to taxes. With TurboTax Expert Full Service, match with a dedicated tax expert who handles your taxes from start to finish. The experience is seamless. Start in person, finish online, move between both whenever needed. The dedicated tax expert keeps things updated every step of the way, so nothing falls between the cracks. Think of it like having a great head coach with a solid game plan. The plays are called, adjustments are made, and the work gets done while everyone stays focused on what actually matters. And just like game film doesn't wait for business hours, neither do taxes. With TurboTax Expert Full Service, you can get any tax question answered at no extra cost, even on nights and weekends during tax season. This is having someone in your corner running the whole operation and helping put points on the board. Get started at TurboTax.com. Only available with Intuit TurboTax Full Service experts. Real-time updates only in iOS mobile app.
Folks, listen up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 sportsbook for live betting, is built for March. The tournament is unpredictable, but the rewards are guaranteed. And DraftKings is delivering some of the most generous rewards in the market. New to DraftKings? Bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code DAN. That's code DAN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets instantly. In partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org on behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas. Wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 and over in most states. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. Limited time offer.
Protein is now at Starbucks, and it's never tasted so good. You can add protein cold foam to your favorite drink or try one of our new protein lattes or matcha. Try it today at Starbucks.
Don Le Batard.
Baker Mayfield tearing up Tampa Bay, 38 for 45.
Stugotz.
Shred 'em!
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
One of the things that is happening is a number of different comedians like Theo Von have gotten popular during this time, and Vince Vaughn appeared on Theo Von's podcast. We got a Vaughn off here, and they're talking about late night television. Here is Vince Vaughn. What are your thoughts here?
But yeah, because people want authenticity.
Yeah.
And I think that the talk shows, to a large part, became really agenda based.
Yeah.
They were going to evangelical people to what they thought. You know what I mean? And so people just rejected it because it didn't feel authentic. It felt like they had an agenda. It stopped being funny, and it started feeling like I was in a class I didn't want to take. But if you look at what happened to the talk shows and why their ratings are low, it's got only to do with the fact of what you just said, which is they all became the same show.
Yeah.
And they all became so about their politics and who's good and who's bad. And it's like, imagine sitting next to someone like that on a fucking plane.
Oh.
Bro, you'd be like, how do I get out of this fucking seat?
I would fart right next to him.
Holy cow. Yeah. You fart your way out of it.
Yeah.
There it is.
The thing, this is what I don't like about those guys. I mean, I love Vince Vaughn. He's super funny. I love Theo Von. He is the best at saying ridiculous things well. But like, all this, it's just the criticism or the hypocrisy is so obvious. Like, so what's your counter argument from people who say that? It's a lot of people who are like, I'm going to tell you my political opinions. I just don't like yours because they conflict with mine. And I understand, man. Like, it's super cringe when you're watching like a late night TV show and someone like you just turned it on to find out like who's the star in the latest movie. And you get some kind of like political message that isn't well crafted. Like, if that happens, that's bad. But if the joke is good and the criticism is undeniable, then you're just complaining because you don't like the truth.
He's saying this on Theo Vaughn's podcast about, talk shows becoming an echo chamber and propaganda machines. Theo Vaughn's.
So, we had... Yeah, and exactly. He's just like a patsy, right? Like, it's funny. Like, right before Charlie Kirk was killed, we had him on our show on TYT a bunch, just to find out, what are your thoughts? How do they overlap? If a generally people first movement, what do you agree with that we say? I don't know, man. All of those. I made a video afterwards. Or right before he was killed, where I was just showing all the manosphere appearances with all these right-wing people who are trying to, obviously being like, my skill is I don't sound like a politician. I'm still full of crap when I talk. I just am full of crap differently. I'm J.D. Vance. I wrote a movie. I'm a chill guy, right? Even though he's a robot, I saw him in a Walgreens at the RNC, and he, instead of walking like this, he walks with his hands forward like this, like a robot. He's not a person. He's just good. He's better at masquerading as one than everybody else. And I said in this video, it's funny because Joe Rogan just said this out loud on his show. I want those guys to keep talking because when they're not there doing snow jobs on Theo Vaughn's show, they go back to their Turning Point USA conferences, and their arguments are so dorky. It's Ben Shapiro going oh, look at this cover of this album with Taylor Swift. What's she doing? Her butt's out. It's yeah, so you're telling Theo Vaughn, you don't like girl butts? What happens when they recognize that, right? And all their arguments are listen, they're oddly obsessed with, and they're wrong about sports stuff. Their main argument is
the most
I can't believe Travis
part.
Kelce.
That's the most offensive part.
It's true. They're oh my God, Travis Kelce can now afford a ring because he's with Taylor Swift. It's his podcast is worth $100 million. You guys just don't know that stuff. They're so dorky, and then everybody's going to catch on, and that's what's happening now.
Happy Half Hour with Brett Erlich is where it is that you find him. We have a number of absurd headlines from the pop culture trough of headlines and debates. What else other than this one has gotten your attention? Which has gotten the most of your attention?
I mean, the one thing that's happening right now is the Kristi Noem situation with her husband. Basically, she's cheating on him with Corey Lewandowski, according to all the reporting. And now it's come out. Someone has leaked it, not Kristi Noem, that he likes to dress up with boobies and, interact with adult stars online or whatever, which I'm fine with. I just think I don't know why they're breaking up. They both like to play dress up in front of people. That's weird.
I was trying to read into what you were saying because my first thought was, who benefits from this? Kristi Noem, actually. They're going to be there's a huge portion of people that won't feel any empathy towards her at all, right? But this does kind of help rationalize the affair that became so public during the congressional hearing. This is kind of making her a sympathetic figure for the eventual book tour, I think, to a degree. Right. So it wouldn't surprise me if she were behind this orchestrated leak.
Oh, 100%. And also the quotes from her are I am devastated to learn this. Yeah. Well, you're not even doing that narrative right. If you're learning this now, why did you sleep with Corey Lewandowski? If you knew it before, it could motivate that. But it seems like you're just post hoc justifying your dalliance.
Brett, thank you for your maiden voyage on the show. It was good talking to you. We appreciate your time, sir.
All right, Brett. Yeah.
You don't follow any of us on social media, by the way.
Yeah, you don't follow me on Instagram or Twitter.
Yeah,
what are you talking about? You said all of us, but it's fine.
He follows me.
Listen, I don't painstakingly check to see who's following me on Instagram, but you guys do, and so that takes you down a notch for me.
Yeah,
but,
you're pathetic.
I'll go afterwards.
Look, you embarrassed me in front of Brett. He's the director of programming of the Young Turks Network.
Apologize.
Thank you, Brett. I appreciate it. You're pathetic, all of you, looking at whether he's following you or not. I'm disgusted by all of you right now. Thank you, Brett. Good talking
Logan Paul
to you.
follows me.
That's not a surprise.
Spring starts at the Home Depot, and we are bringing the heat to your backyard this season. Fire up the flavor with our wide variety of grills for under $300, like the next Grill 4-burner gas grill that's perfect for hosting your spring cookout. Then set the scene and turn your outdoor space into the go-to spot with patio sets for every budget. Bring it this season with grills that deliver flavor and patios that set the vibe from the Home Depot. Start your spring with low prices guaranteed at the Home Depot. Exclusions apply. See homedepot.com/price match for details.
K-pop Demon Hunters Haja Boys breakfast meal and Huntrix meal have just dropped at McDonald's. They're calling this a battle for the fans. What do you say to that, Rumi?
It's not a battle. So glad the Saja Boys could take breakfast and give our meal the rest of the day.
It is an honor to share.
No, it's our honor.
It is our larger honor.
No, really. Stop.
You can really feel the respect in this battle. Pick a meal to pick a side.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. At participating McDonald's while supplies last.
Don Le Batard.
He called me on my own podcast. He called me full of shit, claiming that I'm faking interest in the solar eclipse.
Well,
and
you do this. You love to just get excited about everything.
Okay, Junior.
Stugotz.
I had to school you and explain to you.
He was going to take you to Augusta.
When I was 17 years old, Alan Sherry and I used to haunt the Bueller Planetarium.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
I want to get to something here because our Looks Like tournament is about to conclude and it has been resuscitated. The listeners, by writing funny, it's the hardest kind of writing that anyone does. By writing funny, the listeners resuscitated the Looks Like competition this year. It was a great tournament. And so what I have done to celebrate the listeners doing that is I have gathered all of our previous champions together in a room for a big I want to have some pageantry around where it is that we're headed right now. So we've invited all our luminaries in the history of the Looks Like contest. These are the greatest champions in the history of Look Like. The goats. The goats.
Hall of Fame. All-time goat of our tournament?
Yes, that's what's been invited into the room to present our champions. And before I get to that, let's do a goat conversation, shall we?
Let's do a goat conversation, and it is presented by Frank's Red Hot. Make every dish the greatest. Eat the goat.
You guys are not going to remember the first champion in the history of the Looks Like tournament, and he is no longer with us, but it was Lou Holtz, and it was represented by...
Lou Holtz looks like a train conductor.
Another game to play here is who voiced that? That one's pretty clear, but there'll be a few tricky ones.
Bob Lee, the goat?
That was Bob Lee.
Is that the goat discussion we're having?
Bob Lee also, he would be a goat voiceover guy.
Lou Holtz looks like a train conductor.
I don't know how we got him to say yes to that.
Dude, yeah, I worked it for months. I'm very proud of that.
Villanova, who was the voice and the champion on Villanova?
Jay Cutler looks like the guy trying to break into a house on an alarm company commercial.
That was 2016 champion right
with
there.
With the
Villanova.
knit hat.
The voice?
Play it again. Jay Cutler looks like the guy trying to break into a house on an alarm company commercial.
Was that Kevin Winter?
I don't believe
No, it's not Kevin Winter.
Is that's got to be an anchor of some sort.
That is a broadcast voice at ESPN that we were using, but I don't know. Was that Dan
Bongino, yes.
The Duke Davis?
I'll text Billy.
I don't remember that voice. Roy's got no nominee here.
No, I was definitely a radio sports center anchor.
I think that's ringing a bell.
Dan the Duke Davis.
Sure.
Sure.
Sounds right.
Yeah,
I think I have his last name wrong, though. I think he might have been Dan the Duke someone else.
Dockich.
Double D.
The 2018 champion was Villanova. That means this was the champ.
Jackie McMullen looks like your mom's friend Carol.
That's Hank Azaria. The 2019 champion was Virginia. Virginia was represented by...
Tony Saragusa looks like the guy about to take a bite of a hot dog, only to have it stolen by Spider-Man swinging overhead.
This one's...
Daniel Baldwin?
Daniel Baldwin.
I thought that was actually Saragusa voicing his own.
Tony Saragusa looks like the guy about to take a bite of a hot dog, only to have it stolen by Spider-Man swinging overhead.
It sounds so much like Alec. Let's just say it's Alec.
The 2020 champion was the following.
Andy Reid looks like the small-town sheriff that falls asleep while watching the prisoners, wakes up briefly to yell out, "Who's there?" to no one in particular, and immediately falls back asleep while the prisoners continue to carefully reach for the jail cell keys dangling from his belt.
Unreal.
Amazing.
Now, that was fan voted because in 2020 there was no March Madness tournament, so that was voted by fans.
Thank God FSU would have won it. I mean, not thank God for COVID. Let me take that one back. Stop down. Re-rack. Play on for me.
Wipe, snipe, cue.
Carl Ravitch was the voice on that one. That one was decided by...
That was definitely Reese.
That's a fine, bro.
Are you kidding me? If it were Carl Ravitch, I would have flipped my lid.
It's a play on for me.
Fine bucket.
Play on?
How the hell is it a play on?
Tomato.
If it were Ravi, I would have been wigging out.
That's a bold-faced lie.
Did somebody say lie?
I was trying to do fibula, and I did it poorly.
No, we know.
2021.
Sounded like Dan Marino.
2021 champion Baylor was represented by
Doug Peterson. Looks like he specifically asked for full custody of the basement air hockey table in his divorce.
Honestly, we should bring Go Piss Mike back.
I know. I honestly tried.
I forgot all about that guy.
That was great voice.
One more time.
Doug Peterson looks like he specifically asked for full custody of the basement air hockey table in his divorce.
That was an inspired choice. I worked on that one for months.
Put it on the poll. Do you remember Goat Piss Mike?
It's a tough get for you. Go Piss.
Yeah. Tougher than Bob Lee.
We're not talking enough about Dan Hurley. Dan Hurley won the Looks Like tournament in 2023 with his UConn team.
Paul George looked like your brother's friend, Devin, who everyone just calls D.
That's a great one. I forgot that champion.
Paul George looked like your brother's friend, Devin, who everyone just calls D.
That's a good group of champions.
That's a great one.
That was
Is it done? I never wanted it to end.
That was it. Those are
And we stopped for a couple years.
All our champions gathered here today in order to welcome in the Final Four. You can also, on Greg Cote's podcast, the Greg Cote Show featuring Greg Cote, he's going to perk up here because there's a recent Mount GregFour, or
Yes.
what's it called?
The Mount GregFour Bracket Challenge.
GregFour or Great4?
GregFour. One word, capital F. And we're down to the Final Four, which is hoops against
Nobody knows what this is. You can feel free to explain to anybody what it is. Do you know what it is?
You have to seem excited
Greg,
about
Greg,
it.
look, it can't be this, okay, Greg?
Bored.
It can't be. I'm only sitting here so
Right.
that you promote my podcast, and then we promote your podcast, and you don't know anything about your podcast. You're flipping through papers, and you're like,
I think it's.
You want to know?
I mean, you can't. It can't be. I need you to promote my podcast, and then it's that kind of indifference when I go to you.
You want to know the final in nets versus hoops or pools versus 64s?
Give us the winners in all four. Give us the
Why
Final
have you
Four
checked
matchup.
out on the show? What happened? Are you tired after 2 days? You faded out? You haven't been listening for the last 20 minutes?
No, I have.
Well, what happened? You sit around here waiting for me to give you the opportunity to promote your podcast.
Sure.
It's the moment that you're waiting for.
Right.
I ask you about the Mount GregFour, and you just ruffle through some papers, and you're like, what is this you're asking me about?
Well, I
is
don't
it
know
because
about
you're
that.
tired at the end of 2 days?
I'm full of energy.
Are you bored by your own podcast? What is it?
No, I'm not. You can vote on these Final Four in the two semifinals. It's hairnets versus hoop. There it is.
So the winner of nets was hair nets, because remember
Right.
there were 5. Then nets moved on.
Right.
The winner of hoops was
Whoop, there it is, which I always mistook
I
on
so
the radio
regret asking
as
about
hoop,
this.
There it
and
is.
the other 2 finalists.
In 64 versus pools, we have Nintendo 64 versus, unfortunately, swimming pools.
Swimming pools won.
Yeah, I didn't want it to.
What you like to call it the shower.
Second place was a pool of blood, which I campaigned for.
Don't go showering.
But the electorate
In that pool.
voted in swimming pools.
What is the pools category?
Well, swimming pools won.
Yeah, so I
The,
can.
the category. No. All right.
Office pools.
I can clean this up.
Yeah.
The category was in general pools, and he had top 5 pools, which were. Here we go.
It's getting late on a back to back.
Pooling resources, pooling resources.
That was one option.
Number two was
That's another Greg
pool
Cote
of
3 and out.
blood.
Yeah,
It was a small pool of blood, though.
Right.
It was like a trickling down
Yes,
of blood.
yes, it
which
was
I
a-
would have voted for.
Greg Cote's going to
table.
punt.
punt. When Erlich was on, I had to really refrain from doing a Joe Biden impression when Biden came up.
Glad you did.
Yeah. So I just.
Greg, let me get you back in your comfort zone.
Go ahead.
All right. Usually you can count on talking about you being in the comfort zone, but we can't count on that today. I don't know if you watched the soccer yesterday. It was the final round of World Cup qualifying.
Yeah.
A lot of newsworthy stuff there. And the U.S., who doesn't have to go through this qualification process as a host, played Portugal and once again embarrassed itself.
Yeah.
And look, it wasn't but a few months ago in the fall of 2025 where you kind of had reason for hope. They had this 5-match stretch where they beat Japan, they drew against Ecuador, they beat Australia.
You're giving up already?
They beat Paraguay, they beat Uruguay, and you had faith that, okay, maybe Pochettino's approach of not playing the stars and getting depth, maybe that's working.
Yeah.
And now the last few months of play from this team, as we're just 2.5 months away from the World Cup, is listless.
Right.
This is pissing me off so much because we were looking forward to this World Cup for so long. We thought this generation of players would give the United States a true chance to go deep in a tournament that they were hosting, and they look jaded by the overall experience. Like, what is wrong with this generation of players? They don't have an identity. They don't have a mentality. They don't seem happy to be there. They don't seem to want to be there.
Yeah, and arguably their best player, Pulisic, hasn't scored a goal since December of 25.
He's playing like shit.
He's playing like shit, and I can't recall the last time they beat a team from Europe. I think they've lost 6-7 games in a row against European clubs, which you sort of have to beat. And now, all of a sudden, to your point, you wonder if they're going to get out of the group stage. They could be a colossal fizzle in the World Cup they're hosting. You're right. And
they're favored to get out of the group stage, right?
Because it's an easy group.
Yes,
it's an easy group, but they got major problems here. From team selection to inspiration to creativity. They're playing the wrong guys. They should probably be doing a back three. They're not going through the right guy in attacking. Look, I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but the U.S. mentality was always that of an organized back line and a counter-attacking team to make use of our athletes. And this whole approach where we're going to try to play with Germany the way that Germany plays, you get played right off the pitch, and you're not even that when you're going up against the likes of Panama, right? Panama drags you into the mud, and you don't have answers to it because you're too busy trying to play Jogo Bonito.
Right.
This is stupid. This is stupid. Now, the only hope, because I don't have hope for this manager, I was trying to couch my initial opinions on it, but he's a career. Pochettino's a career loser.
Weren't you high on him when they hired him?
No, I was high on the aspiration that they went out and got a name, and I was hopeful that it would work, but I followed soccer for several decades at this point. Pochettino's a loser.
Well, wait, this recent loss is the one that broke you?
No, it's the performance against Belgium. Like, the team just... This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. There were generations that came and went that didn't have the opportunity.
It still is. They're in an easy group.
Yeah,
it still is. And the only hope that I have is that there are adults in the room that realize that they have an easy path to the knockout round. And then when it's a knockout round, it's a whole new ball game. And that the hopes of a nation actually connect with them, because this generation of players has been so difficult for any manager to connect to. You know, I don't want to, I sound like such a boomer. Spoiled, entitled, brats, all that. But they play like it. They act like it. They run from accountability. What has this team ever accomplished? You know, I miss going into games against Belgium and games against Portugal thinking I had a chance. I'm tuning in to see how bad it's going to be.
Greg,
I have zero hope in these matches.
Greg, I hate, always as analysis, I don't think those people care or want to be there. How can he make that accusation before we have we're less than 100 days from the World Cup. How can he credibly make the accusation as someone who cares about that sport? And it's not about our players are bad. We've been mad at American men's soccer for almost the entire time we've had America's men's soccer, except for one Landon Donovan goal that represents the excitement about United States soccer. How can he make that accusation and you don't flinch on our players don't want to be there?
I don't feel as vehemently as Mike does, but their recent results beg that opinion. And at a time when you're looking for a tailwind, you're looking for some momentum to take into June, they've done the opposite. They've slumped. They've been a very bad team for a few months now, and it's just the timing is so bad.
We're not going to do this with World Cup soccer where we psychoanalyze and say this guy's wrong for saying they don't care enough. That is recognized as analysis the world over for legit ball clubs.
But how can that be?
But Dan, I think Landon Donovan has said this before. Like
it's
people
for real.
This isn't Mike being a guy on his couch with a beard. Like, these guys don't care as he eats Cheetos out of his belly button. This is like something that's being said by people who have played for the U.S. men's national team, who are now analysts. It's something that's being talked about very openly in the soccer world.
The way they play the game is such an insult to anybody that has invested anything in this program hoping for this World Cup. I was looking forward to this World Cup the second that it was whispered as a possibility. Maybe. In 2002, we went to the quarters.
But Mike,
right? In 2002 in Korea, we went to the quarters, and we were supposed to be building on that. The generation missed a World Cup, and finally, we don't even have to go through the qualification process, thank God, because we're hosting. And this is just insulting. To not think you have a chance?
They missed that. Maybe they needed to go through a qualification. You know, they got a free ticket into the World Cup, and I don't think that's helped their preparation in the least.
I desperately want someone in that room to show me they care. I want to see a sense of urgency. I want to see a sense of acknowledgement of the history and how hard it's been for this program to get to the point that where it is right now. It's sucky right now. I don't have faith in the manager. I don't have faith in the players. I don't even like them.
There it is.
I don't like them.
Strong as his terms can be, it's sucky and he doesn't like them, and it's about to get worse. You know what the rarest of things is? Mike has been very careful about where it is that he places his expectations, because to get excited about things is to get disappointed about them more profoundly. This feels like a giant customer betrayal that you can't count on your team, even around the patriotism, to act like it's caring when you've been caring about the sport for 20 years, trying to build it up to in this country to get to these games.
Dan and Greg, they could have these results and have in previous ramps up to the World Cup, and I would still hold out hope and belief that the American underdog spirit when it comes to international soccer would prevail. This team has to show us that they are capable of doing that. So far, the signs are not there.
You're out already, though.
I'm not.
Look,
you
sound hopeless.
You're a host nation. Funny things happen. But someone needs to wake up. Someone needs to smack these guys across the face and say, what are you doing? You're wasting this opportunity. This is so huge for this sport in this country. We're all hoping that this could be a launch pad for everyone. We're all going to make so much money if you just take this seriously and understand the situation, the gravity of it. And it doesn't seem like they do.
What are you smiling
And they play
about,
like
Greg?
they don't seem to understand it.
I mean, I appreciate his passion. I don't feel as strongly as he does, but I think the underlying thing that he's saying is absolutely true.
He's out. He's out.
No, you're trying to do that to me. I'll be rooting for them, but I don't believe right now, and I want to believe.